Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Anti-Social Planet, and today we are checking out some more Tower of God, and we are just about to get into the pre-tournament before the Hell Train starts. We're separating people out into team, and I feel like Bomb has too many with him at the moment. We're gonna have Felix sit out because she is injured, so it makes sense to not bring Felix along. But we have a lot of stuff happening. We have Rachel's team, who don't seem to be part of what's happening at the moment. We met Daniel, who I'm still not intimidated by, but we'll see how long that lasts. And then we have lots of things just being set up, like with Bomb and how he's struggling with this kind of in-between phase that he's in of Bomb, but also Violet, but also something new. He can't fully go back to Bomb that we knew in season 1, and he's not fully the Violet persona that he had, so he's in this weird in-between of still trying to figure out how to balance between those two things and the sacrifices that he's going to have to make in order to continue with his journeys. I don't know, maybe finally confronting Rachel will give him some closure on that, but I'm not really sure. We're getting into the tournament part though, so I feel like we're gonna be meeting some other characters, seeing what this Yura is the idol, who's not an idol anymore, ex-idol, and some of the other characters that we're going to be up against. But let's just get into this tournament and see what we're dealing with. I'm sure it'll be stressful. We have the list going on, the tier list. Some of them don't have names yet. Team Royal. Okay, it's Team X, because we have Team X here that's separated. It's like the final boss. Is that just like a place marker, or is that Rachel's team? Rhetorical question, but that's, I'm gonna assume it's Rachel. She's the final boss of this, and we're gonna have to maybe wait for the whole tournament to pass before we actually get a meetup between her and Bomb. Maybe. Oh yeah, she's gonna be fighting her idol, literally. I feel like they're just front loading that too, that I'm like, this is gonna be one of those competitions, isn't it? Because if we're starting with this character that we've already set up and introduced to, who seems to have a particular interest in Bomb, and that's, I feel like it's part of the reason that she's even here, and that's the first team that we're going up against, even with Ran, because Ran's up against Akka, which we've also been introduced to. So we're starting off strong before we get into the next one. Now I'm gonna assume that this team wins and this team wins and goes into the next round because they have actual names. That's my current prediction. Yeah, I don't like it either. At least someone is clocking it. Ooh, Bomb distracted. I guess he doesn't know that Ran is there necessarily, and the rest of them. I like how even with them setting up the teams, they're like, Ran's in charge. I feel like it's a little bit Novik, but I like that everyone's just, we know who's calling the shots. He's just, I don't know who that is, but I guess we'll just fight him. I like how they're all just like, oh hey, you're here too. I think it's also quite important that he is Team Bomb. He's using that name for this competition because he hasn't in a long time used that in a formal setting because he's been Violet for so long. So it's quite an announcement that he's back, or he's here as someone separate from Foog. I guess there's still Foog members around. Ooh, I guess that's too. If they're both fighting on, like, they both have their own teams. If they succeed, then they're gonna end up fighting each other, aren't they? I don't know how that would go, honestly. I feel like probably Bomb would be the one to win out. I feel like he would probably pull ahead, but I don't know. On his own though, there's quite a few hitters on Ran's team that if they were all working together, I don't know how well Bomb would keep up, especially if he's concerned about not actually hurting them, right? Because he's friends with them, he knows them, so he's gonna be holding back to some extent. I don't know if we'll actually get to that point. Assuming something is gonna go awry between now and needing to deal with that particular impasse, but interesting thought to see who would win. I'm gonna assume Team X. Team X is Casino, Rachel, Daniel, other off-putting people in hoods. I feel like if nothing goes wrong is, again, just like putting that out there, right? We had last chapter where they were like, it's all good, nothing's gonna happen. I'm like, now something's gonna happen because you've said it. And now we're like, if nothing goes wrong, now something's definitely gonna go wrong because you've put that out there. I guess also them saying they'll give up their tickets. They're not actually interested in the Hell Train specifically. I guess it doesn't matter if they don't make it through the whole competition. Just the smash cut to this happened twice now of just like suddenly we're like bang here. Our true identity, I feel like it's someone we know. I don't know who it is yet. Intrigued, but I guess we're not being sidetracked, right? That was our whole thing, is that we're staying focused on Casino. Now I'm just like trying to figure out, like, who do we know from the Hot family? Do we have, is it Yuri? The Hot family, I see, always part of me was like, maybe it's Lady Yuri, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if she'd go through the trouble of being an idol. I guess other than the fact that she has to sneak on the train somehow. I guess it could be. I'm used to her in red. Is that why she's gone blue? She likes a color scheme? I feel like that's gonna be even more of an issue now if we're going up against her first. If it is Lady Yuri. Okay, so we need to give up one ticket. Yeah, I remember us talking about Lady Yuri all the way back when she was first told that Bomb was going to be on the train and got the ticket, that she was only not interested in going on the Hell Train, but I also am not allowed. And then the other Princess of Jihad was like, I know how to get you on. So Did she go full undercover as an idol? Did she plan this so much in advance that she established herself as an idol just to get on this train? I guess she's got a lot of time, but it just seems like a lot of work. Okay, so each team member has to deposit a ticket to join in. Interesting. Okay, so the numbers are like seeding, because I remember the numbers before, and I was like, I'm assuming the stronger you are, the lower the number is. The closer to 1 you are, stronger, and then weaker as you go down the numbers. Do I think Yuri would be sophisticated enough to pull something off like that? If she had a bunch of help, if she had the support there. She has Evan with her. I feel like Evan could help with that. It's definitely so you can lose all your tickets. That is the point, is to amass as many tickets from the people who are here as possible. I like Rock's contribution of, I think he's just completely unimpressed. I'm a little bit scared. Even if it's not Lady Yuri, it's still someone connected to her, and we see what she's like. We've seen what Lady Yuri is capable of, so makes me a little bit nervous. Even if it isn't her, I still think that they're going to be a formidable opponent. He was just blue and useless. Was he a coon? Are we talking about coon? Is this Rock being like, I know a guy who's from one of the great families? What's the big deal? You should have a bad feeling. I too have a bad feeling. I don't trust that we have sunglasses. Can't see our eyes. Trigger is afoot. Confident as well. All of these characters look a little bit shifty. Don't love that. Yeah, see, Team X. I spotted that too. I feel like Team X has to be Rachel. It's just suspicious enough that I'm like, probably. Yeah, I feel like probably the best tactic is to, I don't know, just put like bomb in and then hope he can make it through. If you can put one person in and then just save all of your other tickets, then you won't end up losing a bunch of them. Yeah, like it's gonna be like, how can you use the least amount of people as possible? Yeah, we definitely should be cautious of her. She seems suspicious, coming out of nowhere, already has a lock on bomb. I get that it's strategic though, like if you don't know what the challenge is going to be, how do you ensure that you have like, the right people there, right? Because Bomb got a lot of power behind him, definitely one of the more talented ones when it comes to combat and using Shinsu and stuff, but like when it comes down to a puzzle or something that's going to take more strategic 4D chess kind of brain, I don't know if he's necessarily the best person for that. He definitely has his moments, but I don't know if he's necessarily who you want. Or even if you have like Bomb and Rock, right? Rock, definitely not the kind of person to stop and think through a whole situation. He's definitely gonna see if just hitting it really hard works before he stops and thinks. I love him. And he has his moments where he can really assess a situation. He's really good at reading people, but not necessarily always the best person for those kinds of moments. You gotta pick and choose who you want to be in that situation without fully knowing what's about to happen. I'm gonna assume she's pretty strong. I'm gonna assume that is gonna be an issue with this first round. Just fangirling, nervous, stare off between the two of them. She always has a little suitcase with her. What's that about? Why do I feel like you've already met? Yeah, I was like, I feel like this isn't like a proper first meeting. I feel like she knows more about you. Speaking of like advantages and disadvantages, I feel like Yura knows more about Bomb than he knows about her. Hello, little devil thing with a one eye. What's happening? Crazy yellow ball. Okay, at least it's descriptive. I don't know what that really means in terms of games, but I understand where the name came from. Let's see what's this crazy yellow ball is about. What are we doing? I feel like it has a mind of its own. I don't like the giggle. We had someone grinning off-puttedly before. Just have a stare down match between the two of them. Bomb looking shook. Then they're like, okay, listen up. Here are the rules. As he literally says, listen. Bomb, focus. Bomb, are we listening to the rules? Are we paying attention? Okay, I'm assuming we have a goal. Are we gonna have to stay in the field? I like how Rock's like, it's the color of a banana. He does love his bananas. Okay, so ball. Is this gonna be like an actual like sports ball game? Because that's gonna make my brain hurt because I don't follow sports. We're trying to get the ball to the opponent's goal post, then we win. Gotcha. Okay, so it's like part sports ball, part almost like board game, because we can only, there's spaces and we can only move a certain number of spaces per turn. Okay, so we're gonna have to put at least 2 people in, or it has to go to the opponent team. So I guess it would be probably easier with at least 2 people on your team though. So you have to pass it off to the opponent. Gotcha. I feel like it'd be really easy to be in a standstill though with that, because like you pass it and they're like, I'm gonna move 2 spaces in the opposite direction away from my goalpost, and the other person is, I'm gonna take 2 spaces towards your goalpost. How long is there a timer? How long can the game go on? Okay, so we can only hold the ball for 10 seconds, so there's at least some kind of time mechanic. I don't want to know what it means when it gets into a crazy. I don't want to know what that's going to entail. I feel like we're going to find out, but that's just rugby. I don't know much about rugby, so I remember watching some of it. I watched exactly 1 football game all through high school. 1, and that was it. I got some free food out of it though, so it wasn't all bad. There's a whole floor for rugby. Yeah, were we paying attention, Bomb? Were we listening to the rules, or were we distracted by the fact that this person knows who you are? Also, is Bomb a sports ball person? I don't get that read from him. Should we let the guy who knows about rugby do it? Or at least be part of this? I don't know now. My brain hurts from the rules. I don't sports. I only have a passing understanding. I guess too, if you have multiple people in this, then can you block someone? If you're in the way of them being able to move spaces, are they gonna have to use their 2 spaces to move laterally instead of forward? Be a good way to block someone from actually advancing if you had more people. Oh, are they gonna watch? Oh, are they using her alias for when they knew her? Everyone has so many different names. Then it makes my brain hurt. I think she's immediately, we're not friends. Don't be like that. Ooh, Ron's got a read on her though. Suspicious that we're all here along with you. What's going on? Okay. His name is Pierre. I don't know whether or not to be impressed by that one. Okay, so we have what? We have first line, we got these two that are starting in, and then one from the other team. Interesting. I like how Rock's just pouting, but I also feel like he'd be pretty good at being a goalie. He's bulky. I used to always play goalie because it meant I didn't have to run around. Okay, so we're like, Yura's like the one, and then we got a defender, not a goalie, who's restricted. And then we got what, 4? Well, 5, I guess, for Bomb. We have Bomb, and then we have the 2 before that were like, what, striker and possibly defender? Striker and defender. We got 2 goalies. So 5 against 2? We're just like, putting everybody in? It's almost like volleyball, though. I'm assuming you're gonna have to get the ball first. The contrast between these, the motion with Bomb, and then this for her, the close-up on her face. She didn't even try. She was like, you go ahead. That's why I was like, we're not even moving. That wasn't like we earned that victory to start off. That was like her letting you have this. Why? Okay, so we can only move the 2 spaces on the opponent's side because he's traveling, honestly. I'm mixing all of my sports metaphors because I'm like, I don't know enough about him. I guess it's like rugby where you can just get the ball and run until somebody tackles you. Even then, they'll like, keep going. Football is one where if you get the tackle, they have to reset. This is taxing my brain a little bit. Look at the Bomb just showing up. What happened? Did we not realize he was gonna be there? He was gonna be that fast? It's a good pass off. Or did we do some? Because that's, I don't know, I know we got the ball and it's trailing it, but also, did we do some Shinsu strategy there? Look how happy Rock is. Cute. Ah, did we freeze him? Did we go back to our freezing talent that we had before? And that's why he was all like, oh, what happened? See, don't say you're gonna win for sure. You keep throwing out all these phrases that are like, what could go wrong? And we're sure to win this. You're just asking for something awful to happen. You're just calling it in. Especially since you're gonna have to be on defense now. Unlikely. I got a bad feeling. She still has the suitcase. What's in the suitcase? Why do we have it? I'm nervous. I'm like tensing up. Yeah, she knows a lot. So we're connected to Rachel. It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. You're fine. We're cool. I don't have any words to say about Rachel. I can think them, but it's fine. We're cool. Deep breath. Okay, so we're with Foog. So I'm assuming not a Princess of Jihad then? Ooh, I don't believe that. Rachel doesn't have friends. We've learned that. She pushes her friends off of ledges towards creatures that will try to eat them and possibly drown them. Rachel doesn't have friends. That's not what this is. Oh, sad seeing your idol fall though. Seems very confident. I mean, I feel like he knows where Rachel is. I feel like he knows that she's in the vicinity. I think if he wanted to find her, he probably could without the help. It's not like she's exactly subtle. I'm stressed. I feel like it's how I end every chapter, but that's always on cliffhangers. I don't have a good feeling about this. I feel like there's too much confidence here to basically single-handedly take on Bomb and his whole team. I feel like having all of them in there was an interesting tactic. I get lit with like the first game. It does make sense to have more of a team there, to have the most of them actually submit a ticket and be part of the game because of the way that it is like a sports match. This is really going to tax my knowledge of sports. It makes sense to have the more people because that will be advantageous to them to have an actual full team. But the fact that she's just there with a defender, I don't really know why he's there. That makes me curious because if she feels like she could do this on her own, is it just that she needs 2 people kind of thing and she chose a defender to stay out of her way? I feel like maybe a goalie would have been better. Boda was saying was like, why wouldn't you have a goalie? Why would you pick a defender who can't move around very much? It's interesting. I'm like the strategy involved of how this is going to go. I feel like Yura is really banking on her own skills and her being able to do this on her own. So I'm not really sure how it's going to all work out. I feel like Bomb's a little bit off kilter. I feel like this was already going to be a bit of a difficult confrontation, but he's also keeps being off kilter by all this information being thrown at him. And I feel like that is probably intentional. There's some mind games there because we saw her before where she was convincing people. I don't know how much that was like just words or whatever, getting people to join her team and stopping the fighting that was happening, the kind of battle royale that was going on, to see who would actually be able to participate, and her saying, oh, I can just talk people into helping me and being on my team and taking them along. I feel like there's definitely some mind games intentionally going on, and I feel like talking about Rachel and throwing out his name Violet and the fact that he is a Slayer nominee and all of that, throwing out these pieces of information to intentionally throw him off kilter, because that's going to make it more difficult for him to engage in the actual game that's going on and not be like distracted by the fact that Rachel is here somewhere and this person knows who I am, and like how much information does she know, what else does she know, like all of this stuff is going to be getting in the way of him just like, paying attention to the game and not getting sidetracked into asking her questions and trying to get information, right? So we'll see how this go. I'm curious. I'm also worried. I feel since we're setting up with some heavy hitters in the first round that it's only going to get worse with the next round if they make it to the next one. I feel like we're also calling in a lot of bad energy because they keep saying these phrases, and I'm like, that is definitely gonna make things go awfully wrong. The moment that you think things are gonna be okay in the tower is usually when things go incredibly haywire. I'm just waiting for the moment for things to just completely go off the rails and see how disastrous it might end up actually being. But I hope you enjoyed reading that along with me. You can click this playlist to go into my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so you don't miss the next time I post a Tower of God video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.